Marcus Hale's car pulled up to his giant mansion just as the sun was setting. The marble walls glowed orange and pink in the evening light. He was tired after a long day of business meetings, and all he wanted was a quiet dinner with his family. But something was wrong. Even before he opened the front door, Marcus could hear shouting. Loud, angry voices echoed through the huge entrance hall. His heart started beating faster. That was his wife Ava's voice, screaming at someone. Marcus pushed open the heavy wooden door and froze. There, in the middle of the shiny marble floor, stood his 74-year-old mother, Loretta. Her silver hair was perfectly combed as always, and she wore her favorite purple dress. But her face looked sad and tired. And there was Ava, his beautiful wife with her designer clothes and perfect makeup, standing just 3 feet away from his mother. Ava's face was twisted with anger, red and furious. Her hand was raised high in the air, ready to strike. "Stop!" Marcus shouted, his voice bouncing off the high ceiling. Ava spun around, her hand still in the air. For a moment, nobody moved. The housekeepers and servants standing along the walls looked terrified. A young maid was crying quietly in the corner. "Marcus, thank goodness you're home," Ava said, quickly dropping her hand. But her voice was still sharp and mean. "Your mother has gone too far this time. She's been stealing from us." Marcus felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. "What? Mother, what is she talking about?" Loretta stood very still, her back straight and proud. When she spoke, her voice was calm and gentle, like she was talking to a scared child. "Marcus, my son, I have stolen nothing. I have lived in this house with dignity and respect for 3 years, ever since your father passed away." "Lies!" Ava screamed, pointing her finger at Loretta. "She controls everything in this house. She tells the servants what to do. She goes through our private papers. She's trying to turn you against me, Marcus." Marcus felt his head spinning. His mother had always been kind and honest, but Ava was his wife, the woman he loved and married 2 years ago. Who should he believe? "Ava, please calm down," Marcus said, holding up his hands. "Let's talk about this like adults." "Adults?" Ava laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was cold and mean. "Your mother treats me like a child in my own home. She questions every penny I spend. She watches me like I'm a criminal. I'm the lady of this house, not her." The servants shifted uncomfortably. Marcus noticed that old Samuel, who had worked for his family for 30 years, was shaking his head slightly. Loretta took a small step forward. "Marcus, I love you more than anything in this world. I would never disrespect your wife. But I also cannot stand by and watch wrong things happen in this house." "Wrong things?" Ava's voice got even louder. "The only wrong thing here is you. You're a bitter old woman who can't accept that your son has a new family now." Marcus saw tears form in his mother's eyes, but she blinked them away quickly. His heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. "That's enough, Ava," Marcus said firmly. "You will not speak to my mother that way." Ava's mouth dropped open. "Are you taking her side? After everything I've done for you? After I gave up my career to be your wife?" "I'm not taking sides," Marcus said, though he wasn't sure that was true. "I just want to understand what happened. Mother, please tell me what's going on." Loretta looked at her son with sad, wise eyes. $3,000 went missing from the household account last week, then $5,000 the week before. I noticed because I helped manage the monthly expenses, as I always have. When I asked Ava about it, she became very angry. "Those are my expenses," Ava shouted. "I don't need to explain every purchase to your mother. I'm your wife." "But where did the money go?" Marcus asked quietly. Ava's face turned even redder. "That's none of your business. Or hers. I have a right to privacy." Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. Ava was hiding something. He could tell from the way she wouldn't look him in the eyes. "And there's more," Loretta continued, her voice still calm. "Your grandmother's sapphire bracelet, the one your father gave me on our wedding day. It's missing from my jewelry box. Now you're accusing me of being a thief?" Ava screamed so loud that the chandelier seemed to shake. "How dare you? I want her out of this house, Marcus." Tonight, right now. Choose her or me. The servants gasped. Making a man choose between his mother and his wife was a terrible thing to do. Everyone knew it. Marcus looked at his mother's dignified, sad face. Then he looked at his wife's angry, demanding expression. His whole world felt like it was crumbling. Nobody is leaving tonight, Marcus said slowly. Not until I understand the truth. The truth? Ava laughed that cold laugh again. The truth is your mother is a controlling, lying old woman who can't stand that I'm the most important woman in your life now. Young Sophie, the maid who had been crying, suddenly spoke up in a tiny, scared voice. Mr. Hale, sir, there's something you should know. Everyone turned to look at her. Sophie's hands were shaking, but she stood up straighter. What is it, Sophie? Marcus asked gently. Sophie glanced at Ava, who was glaring at her with pure hatred. The security cameras, sir. They recorded everything that happened this afternoon. Ava's face went pale. For just a second, Marcus saw fear flash across her features. What did the cameras show, Sophie? Marcus asked, his voice careful and quiet. I think you should watch it yourself, sir, Sophie whispered. Marcus felt his hands go cold. Whatever was on that camera footage, it was bad, very bad. And suddenly, he wasn't sure he knew his wife at all. The mansion, which had always felt like a palace of happiness and success, now felt like a trap. And Marcus was caught right in the middle, between the woman who gave him life and the woman he chose to share his life with. One of them was lying, and Marcus needed to find out which one, before his whole world fell apart. Marcus's voice cut through the silence like a knife. Bring me the security footage. Now. Marcus, you don't need to, Ava started, but he held up his hand. I said now. His voice was cold in a way the servants had never heard before. Even Ava took a step back. Samuel, the old butler, nodded and hurried toward the security office. The room felt frozen in time. Nobody spoke. Nobody even seemed to breathe. The only sound was the tick-tock of the grandfather clock in the corner. Ava's eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal looking for escape. She smoothed her dress nervously and forced a smile. Darling, this is silly. You trust me, don't you? We don't need to watch some stupid video. But Marcus wasn't looking at her anymore. He was watching his mother, who stood quietly with her hands folded in front of her. Loretta looked tired but peaceful, like someone who had nothing to hide. Samuel returned quickly, carrying a laptop. His old hand shook slightly as he set it down on the marble table in the center of the entrance hall. It's all queued up, Mr. Hale, from this afternoon, starting at 2:30. Everyone stay here, Marcus commanded. I want witnesses. The servants moved closer, forming a half-circle around the laptop. Ava stayed where she was, her face getting paler by the second. Marcus pressed play. The video showed the entrance hall from a camera high up near the ceiling. There was Loretta, walking slowly down the grand staircase, holding onto the railing. She looked so small and fragile on the huge stairs. Then Ava appeared from the sitting room. Even on the silent video, everyone could see she was angry. Her face was twisted, and her hands were waving around. Turn up the sound, Marcus said quietly. Samuel adjusted the volume, and suddenly Ava's voice filled the room, coming from both the laptop and the real Ava standing just feet away. You think you can spy on me, old woman? Video Ava screamed. You think you can question MY's spending? This is MY House now. I only asked where the money went, Video Loretta replied calmly. $8,000 in 2 weeks is unusual. How dare you track my expenses? You're not my mother-in-law, you're my jailer. Marcus felt sick watching his wife on the screen. She looked like a stranger. I'm not trying to control you, dear, Video Loretta said gently. I'm trying to protect this family. That money went to your brother's company. The same brother who was arrested for fraud 3 years ago. Marcus's head snapped toward the real Ava. You've been sending money to Derek? Ava opened her mouth, but no words came out. On the screen, Video Ava moved closer to Loretta, her finger pointing right in the old woman's face. My brother made a mistake. He's changed, and it's my money to spend however I want. It's the family's money, Video Loretta corrected softly. And your brother has asked you for $40,000 in the last month alone. I found the bank transfers. Marcus paused the video. His hands were shaking. $40,000? Ava, is this true? She's twisting everything. Ava cried out. Derek needed help with his new business. I was going to tell you. I was waiting for the right time. The right time? Marcus felt anger rising in his chest like hot lava. Or were you hoping I'd never find out? Loretta spoke quietly. Keep watching, son. There's more. Marcus pressed play again, even though part of him didn't want to see any more. On screen, Video Ava was getting angrier and angrier. And another thing, old woman, I found your precious sapphire bracelet. I know how much it's worth. $200,000. That bracelet should be mine. I'm the wife now. That bracelet belonged to Marcus's grandmother, Video Loretta said, and for the first time, her voice had steel in it. It's a family heirloom, meant to be passed down to Marcus's children someday. I don't care about your dusty old jewelry, Video Ava shouted. Give it to me, or I'll make your life miserable in this house. Marcus felt like he couldn't breathe. This woman on the screen, threatening his mother, demanding family treasures. This couldn't be the woman he married, but it was. Then came the worst part. Video Ava stepped even closer to Loretta, backing her against the wall. You know what? I'm done with you. I'm done with your judging eyes and your quiet little comments. Get out of my house. This is Marcus's house, Video Loretta said firmly, and I won't leave my son. That's when Video Ava raised her foot and aimed a kick right at Loretta's leg. The real room exploded with gasps. Several servants put their hands over their mouths. Sophie started crying again. On the video, Loretta had just barely dodged out of the way, grabbing the wall to keep from falling. Video Ava's foot hit the wall, instead, with a loud thump. You old witch, Video Ava screamed. Stand still. She raised her hand to slap Loretta, and that's exactly the moment when the real Marcus had walked through the door. Marcus stopped the video. The entrance hall was completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop on the marble floor. Slowly, Marcus turned to look at his wife. Ava's face was white as paper. Tears ran down her cheeks, but Marcus couldn't tell if they were real or fake anymore. Marcus, please, I was just angry. I didn't mean... You tried to kick my mother, Marcus said, and his voice sounded dead and hollow. You tried to slap her. She provoked me. She's always watching me, always judging. She was protecting our family. Marcus's voice suddenly got loud, making everyone jump. She was trying to stop you from stealing from us. I wasn't stealing. That money was for family, for my brother. Your brother, the criminal, Marcus shouted. $40,000. Did you think I was stupid? Did you think I'd never notice? Samuel cleared his throat nervously. Mr. Hale, sir, there's something else. Marcus closed his eyes, as if preparing for another blow. What? We found Mrs. Ava's personal safe in her dressing room. She'd hidden it behind the shoe cabinet. Inside we found... Samuel's voice trailed off. Found what? Marcus demanded. The old butler reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it slowly. There, sparkling in the chandelier light, was his grandmother's sapphire bracelet, the one Ava had claimed she knew nothing about, the one that had mysteriously disappeared from his mother's jewelry box. No, Ava whispered. No, I can explain. You stole from my mother, Marcus said, and each word felt like a hammer blow. You tried to hurt her. You've been secretly giving tens of thousands of dollars to your criminal brother. You lied to my face. What else, Ava? What else have you been hiding? Sophie took a tiny step forward, her voice shaking. Mr. Hale, I've been wanting to tell you something for weeks, but Mrs. Ava said she'd fire me and make sure I never worked again. Tell me, Marcus said gently, though his face was hard as stone. Mrs. Ava has been meeting with a lawyer, Sophie whispered. I heard her on the phone. She was asking about divorce laws and how much money she could get if you separated. This was 3 months ago, sir. The room spun around Marcus. 3 months ago, Ava had been planning to leave him. to take his money and run. And all this time, she'd been pretending to love him, stealing from his family, hurting his mother. Marcus looked at his mother, standing there with such dignity despite everything that had happened to her. She had tried to protect him, and instead of listening, he had doubted her. "Mother," Marcus said, his voice cracking, "I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you. I should have seen." Loretta crossed the room and took her son's hand. "You loved her, darling. Love makes us blind sometimes. But now you can see clearly." Marcus turned back to Ava, and when he spoke, his voice was like ice. "You tried to destroy my family. You tried to hurt the woman who raised me, who loved me before I had a penny to my name. And you did it all for money." "Marcus, please," Ava begged, reaching for him. "We can fix this. I'll change, I promise. I'll be better." "No," Marcus said simply. "You won't, because I know the truth now." He pulled off his wedding ring and set it down on the marble table with a small, final click. The sound echoed to the mansion like a door slamming shut forever. The wedding ring sat on the marble table like a tiny silver ghost of broken promises. Ava stared at it, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. You can't do this," she finally whispered. "I'm your wife. We made vows. For better or worse, remember?" Marcus looked at her with eyes that seemed 10 years older than they had been an hour ago. "You broke those vows the first time you stole from my family. You destroyed them the moment you raised your hand to my mother. It was one mistake." Ava's voice got louder, more desperate. "One bad moment. Everyone makes mistakes, Marcus. One mistake." Loretta spoke up, her gentle voice somehow carrying more power than any shout. "Dear, this wasn't one mistake. This was months of lying, months of stealing, months of planning to leave my son, while emptying his bank accounts." Ava spun toward Loretta, and for a second that ugly anger flashed across her face again. But then she seemed to remember that everyone was watching. She put her hands over her face and started to cry. "Please, Marcus," she sobbed. "I love you. I made bad choices, but I love you. Don't throw away our marriage over money." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. Part of him, a small, foolish part, wanted to believe her, wanted to think that love could fix everything. But then he looked at his mother's tired face, at the red mark on the wall where Ava's foot had hit, at the stolen bracelet glittering in Samuel's wrinkled hand. "This isn't about money," Marcus said quietly. "This is about who you really are. And I finally see it. You see it because your mother poisoned you against me." Ava shrieked, dropping her hands. The fake tears dried up instantly, replaced by pure rage. "She's been trying to destroy our marriage since day one. She's a jealous, bitter old woman who can't stand that you chose me." "Stop," Marcus said, but Ava wouldn't stop. "She controls you. She controls this whole house. I'm the one who should be in charge here, not some wrinkled old." "I said stop." Marcus's voice boomed through the entrance hall like thunder. Everyone froze. Marcus never yelled, never lost his temper. But now his face was red, and his hands were shaking with anger. "My mother is the kindest, most honest person I know," Marcus said, his voice trembling but strong. "She raised me when my father worked 80-hour weeks. She sat by my bed when I was sick. She taught me right from wrong. And when my father died, she could have taken millions and lived anywhere in the world. But she stayed here, in this house, to help me, to support me, to love me." Tears ran down Marcus's face now, but he didn't wipe them away. "And what did you do?" he continued. "You pretended to love me. You smiled at charity dinners and posed for photos. But behind my back, you stole from us. You contacted divorce lawyers. You planned to hurt the one person who loved me before I was rich." Ava's face twisted with hatred. The pretty mask was completely gone now. "You're choosing her over me? Fine. But you'll regret this, Marcus Hale. I'll take you to court. I'll take half of everything you own. My lawyers will destroy you." Marcus pulled out his phone and held it up. "Samuel, are you recording this?" The old butler nodded. "Yes, sir." Every word since you asked me to start the camera. Ava's face went white again. You've been recording me? Every threat, every lie, every ugly word, Marcus said calmly. Plus, we have the security footage of you trying to assault my mother. We have bank records of you stealing from our accounts. We have evidence that you hid family treasures in your secret safe. And Sophie witnessed you planning this divorce months ago. Marcus stepped closer to Ava, and his voice dropped to barely a whisper. But somehow, everyone in the room heard every word. You will leave this house tonight. You will take only the clothes you came here with 2 years ago. Everything else, the jewelry, the credit cards, the designer dresses I bought you, stays here. If you try to fight me in court, I will show the judge every piece of evidence. I will tell the world exactly what kind of person you are. You wouldn't dare, Ava hissed. Think about the scandal. Think about what it would do to your precious reputation. Marcus smiled, but it was the saddest smile anyone had ever seen. I don't care anymore. The only reputation I care about is my mother's, and I will protect it with everything I have. Ava looked around the room, at all the servants watching her with cold eyes. She looked at Loretta, standing tall and dignified. She looked at Marcus, who had become a stranger to her, someone with a spine made of steel instead of a heart made of money. You'll be sorry, Ava said one last time. You'll miss me. You'll realize what you lost. No, Marcus said simply. I'll realize what I escaped. He turned to Samuel. Call security. Make sure Mrs. Hale, he paused, then corrected himself. Make sure Miss Ava Morrison packs only her personal belongings. Search every bag. Check every pocket. If she tries to take anything that belongs to this family, call the police. 2 large security guards appeared as if they'd been waiting in the hallway. They probably had been. This way, miss, one of them said politely but firmly. Ava stood there for a long moment, looking at the mansion she thought would be hers forever, looking at the man she tried to fool, the mother she tried to destroy, the life she tried to steal. Then, with her head held high in one last act of fake dignity, she walked toward the stairs. Her high heels clicked on the marble floor, each step echoing like a countdown to goodbye. But at the bottom of the stairs, she turned back one more time. I really did love you, she said to Marcus. At first, before the money became more important, before I changed into something ugly. I want you to know that. Marcus looked at her with sad, wise eyes. Maybe you did, but love without honesty isn't real love. It's just a beautiful lie. Ava nodded slowly, as if finally understanding something important. Then she climbed the stairs, flanked by the security guards, and disappeared into the upper hallway. The entrance hall was silent again. Marcus stood there, looking lost and small despite being over 6 feet tall. His shoulders slumped, and suddenly he looked very, very tired. Loretta walked over to her son and wrapped her arms around him. She barely came up to his chest, but somehow she made him feel safe and protected. I'm so sorry, Mother, Marcus whispered into her silver hair. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. Sure, my darling boy, Loretta said gently. You love with an open heart. That's not something to apologize for. You trusted someone, and she betrayed that trust. But now you know better. Now you're wiser. I almost lost you, Marcus said, his voice breaking. She could have hurt you, really hurt you. But she didn't, Loretta replied firmly. And she never will, because you're here now. You saw the truth. You chose what was right, even when it was hard. They stood there together, mother and son, in the middle of the grand entrance hall. Around them, the servants quietly began to move away, giving them privacy. But there were smiles on their faces, real smiles for the first time in months. Sophie, the young maid who had been so brave, paused as she walked by. Mr. Hale, thank you for listening to me. I was so scared, but I couldn't let her hurt Mrs. Loretta anymore. Marcus reached out and squeezed Sophie's hand. No, Sophie, thank you. You were braver than all of us. Starting tomorrow, you're promoted to head of household staff, with double your current salary. Sophie's eyes went wide. Mr. Hale, I don't know what to say. Say you'll help me make this house a real home again, Marcus said with a small smile. A place where honesty matters more than appearances, where people matter more than money. Yes, sir, Sophie said, beaming. I promise. Upstairs, they could hear doors slamming and drawers opening and closing. Ava was packing. In less than an hour, she would be gone forever. Marcus and Loretta walked slowly to the sitting room, where a fire was crackling in the huge fireplace. They sat down on the soft couch together, and Loretta held her son's hand like she used to when he was a little boy with scraped knees and hurt feelings. What do I do now? Marcus asked quietly. How do I trust anyone again? Loretta smiled her wise, gentle smile. The same way you always have, my darling. With hope, with faith, with an open heart, but also with open eyes. You'll love again someday. But next time, you'll choose someone who loves you for who you are, not what you have. Someone like you love, Dad, Marcus said. Exactly like that, Loretta agreed. They sat there in comfortable silence, watching the fire dance and flicker. Outside, they heard a car start up and drive away. Ava was gone. The mansion suddenly felt bigger, emptier, but also cleaner somehow, like a wound that had finally been cleaned out, so it could start to heal. Mother, Marcus said after a while. Yes, dear? I'm going to change things around here. No more caring about what society thinks. No more big parties to impress people who don't really care about us. Just family, real family, people who love each other truly. Loretta squeezed his hand. That sounds perfect. And you'll stay here? Always? This is your home as much as mine. Always, Loretta promised. As long as you need me. I'll always need you, Marcus said, and he meant it with his whole heart. They sat together as the fire burned low and the stars came out in the sky beyond the windows. The mansion would have been full of secrets and lies and fake smiles, slowly transformed back into a real home. Because at the end of the day, Marcus had learned the most important lesson of all. Money can buy a mansion, but only honesty and love can make it a home. Power can attract many people, but only truth can keep the right ones by your side. And family, real family, is worth more than all the gold in the world. What did you think of Marcus's choice? Would you have chosen your mother or your spouse if you discovered lies and betrayal? How important is trust in a family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to make a hard choice between two people you loved? What did you do? Like this story if you believe honesty is more important than keeping up appearances. Comment with your opinion. Was Marcus too harsh? Or did Ava deserve everything she got? Subscribe for more dramatic true life stories about loyalty, betrayal, family secrets, and the power of choosing truth over lies. Question for you. If you were Marcus's friend, what advice would you have given him? Let us know in the comments. Remember, in life, the most valuable treasures aren't jewels or money. They're the people who love you for who you really are. Choose them. Protect them. Never let greed or appearances make you forget what truly matters. Thank you for reading. Hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories about real-life drama, justice, and the strength it takes to do the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing in the world.